The Green Knight is a very unique fantasy movie with striking visuals and a front and center moral theme, but I found myself sadly surprised at how I felt about it. Stick around and hear my thoughts. I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of The Green Knight. The synopsis on IMDb reads, an epic fantasy adventure. Epic, adventure, I don't know, depends on how you use those words usually. Based on the timeless Arthurian legend, The Green Knight tells the story of Sir Gawain, some people said it a little differently than others, King Arthur's reckless and headstrong nephew who embarks on a daring quest to confront the eponymous Green Knight, a gigantic emerald-skinned, I didn't think he was emerald-skinned, stranger and tester of men. Gawain contends with ghosts, giants, thieves, and schemers in what becomes a deeper journey to define his character and prove his worth in the eyes of his family and kingdom by facing the ultimate challenger. From visionary filmmaker David Lowery comes a fresh and bold spin on a classic tale from the Knights of the Round Table. Okay, so what is this animal? Well, it has that classic, almost fairy tale vibe where despite taking place in our world, there's certainly references to Christianity, but there's also, fantastical things like knights made of tree bark that are treated as though expected and as though they require no explanation. So it has that kind of fairy tale vibe where they're just like, it's weird, you're going to run into talking animals, and no one's going to bat an eye about it. They're just going to accept it as part of what's happening to them, and they're not going to psychologically freak out. So, but even though it has that fairy tale kind of logic to it, it is very earthy. It's very grounded, especially like in the makeup designs and stuff. I mean, even the king and queen had like circles under their eyes and like teeth that were bad and stuff. It's like I felt like I was in this primitive period in history. So it's interesting how they juxtapose those two kinds of approaches. It's very much a story about an irresponsible man who wants to have the honor and title of a knight, but who doesn't have or truly understand the virtues that define a knight, at least according to Arthurian legend. And so he embarks on a quest with a final goal that he knows will require bravery and self-sacrifice. And along the way, he sort of episodically encounters these unusual characters and situations that in some way test his virtue. The pace is fairly slow. That's important to know going in. It's a movie that seems more interested in creating mood and ambiance than advancing the story. I think it could easily be a 90-minute movie and have the exact same story, probably all the same dialogue, but at over 2 hours, it requires viewers who are ready to just sit in a presented mood and just kind of marinate and let that mood be presented to them much of the time. Now and then, it also seems to possibly be getting at something deeper thematically, but isn't upfront enough for me to know what that might be. One example would be, this is just one example, a long shot on the Green Knight's face that seems to show it very subtly changing. You have to really pay attention, changing back and forth between its normal appearance and something that's somewhat more human, but not all the way human. And not identifiably to me any of the human characters seen earlier in the movie. So I'm thinking, why was this done? Is this saying something about the nature of the Green Knight? Is this foreshadowing something else? I have no idea. And I felt like there were many moments like this throughout the movie. Where like, I think there's something symbolic going on here, but it's not upfront enough. It's not clear enough for me to know what the director is getting at. So in this respect, it seems to be, I would kind of describe it as the Leviticus of fantasy movies. Now, the book of Leviticus is a book of the Bible that goes into deep detail about the ceremonial law given to ancient Israel. Painstaking detail about different laws, offerings, cleansing required for various situations, punishments for various sins, celebrations to take place in different seasons and situations, on and on. Most people skip reading it because it's weird, slow, and boring. But if you realize that Leviticus is not a book for merely reading, but instead for studying, for asking questions and researching answers, then as your understanding grows, Leviticus becomes this beautiful book about who God is, making his love for us all the more shocking and incredible. Now, I can go to that kind of place once in a while with entertainment, but I really wish there was a "this is like Leviticus" label for those types of entertainment experiences, so I can wait and invest time in those kinds of experiences when I'm actually ready to give what's required above and beyond just watching in order to really dive into them. As it was today, after 55 minutes of watching this over 2-hour movie, seeing lots of long mood-setting shots and strange, likely maybe symbolic events, I was ready to move on or for things to pick up the pace. It's not that I needed more action. The movie has almost none to speak of, and that's fine. But today, I just wasn't really up for the deep dive of research into color palettes or whatever symbolic code the director was using to express his ideas. Now, as far as the cast goes, I have no complaints about the casting or acting. In fact, Dev Patel as Gawain helped me stay invested throughout the movie. He was expressing fear and doubt and uncertainty, and I could certainly relate to that kind of character. And Sean Harris, known for playing villainous or unsympathetic characters in most movies that he's in, was surprisingly warm and familial, and I really appreciated his part in bookending the experience. So really, I thought the performances in this movie were really nice. As far as visuals, there aren't a ton of visual effects. They're pretty frequent, but they're kept pretty subtle. They serve their purpose fine. The world design and composition of shots, I think, are the most striking visual elements to me. The design of the Green Knight character takes what could be a silly concept on paper and makes him seem otherworldly and mysterious and dangerous, And so many moments of this movie, I think, would look really great hanging on a canvas somewhere, which is maybe why the director indulged in long shots so frequently. Now, as far as themes, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? Well, like I said before, it's pretty front and center with kind of its moralizing. The long and short of the moral theme, I think, is that Gawain wants to be honorable, or perhaps more truthfully, to be honored, and wants to take the shortest route to that possible, instead of truly developing honorable character traits. There's also an interesting moment of realization for Gawain when he arrives at a place that he thought would feel different and more gratifying than it did, which parallels our own experiences in life as we pursue certain ambitions or get things that we've been anticipating, only to be met with disappointment at the reality when compared to what we had imagined. This is the human experience in things as small as entertainment or as big as reaching major life goals. In fact, even achieving wonderful, virtuous things is often sullied by the fact that we in this world are still broken. We can do the right thing, and a lot of times in fiction they'll say, oh, but doing the right thing is its own reward. You'll feel good when you do the right thing. You know what? Sometimes doing the right thing does not feel good. It doesn't really feel satisfying, at least not in the way that maybe it was sold to us by other people or movies or whatever. Sometimes doing the right thing, it's hard, and it can even feel empty, but that doesn't make it any less right. And so I think that's not necessarily a statement they were trying to make, but I think it's an observation that I took from it that certainly applies to our life. Even the best things in this world are very often tainted, and at the very least are temporary. And so true and lasting fulfillment will always elude us until something external to ourselves transforms both us and the world that we live in. And of course, as Christians, we can increasingly learn to find hope in God's plan to do exactly that. All right, now I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, skip this one. It's not a bad experience for you. It's clearly made with a lot of skill, but despite some really striking imagery and good performances, you just have lots of other stuff you'd rather give time to. Now, you could, if you wanted to give this movie a shot, keep an eye out for chatter about what you should read beforehand to better appreciate this movie, or see if there's a director's commentary that would explain the intended symbolism that you might even watch, maybe not watch before you watch the movie. But anyway, you could also just study the book of Leviticus again. You haven't done that in a while, and even 30 minutes doing that would certainly benefit your life more than watching this movie for over 2 hours. It's rated R for violence, some sexuality, and graphic nudity. I'd actually swap that and say some nudity and graphic sexuality, because the nudity, mostly just in one scene, was partially obscured by creature and makeup types of effects, whereas another scene graphically showed semen on a character's hand without any nudity being involved. As always, I recommend that you go to imdb.com if you want to get a more blow-by-blow description of the content of a movie and why it was rated the way that it was. All right, well, those are all my thoughts for now on The Green Knight. Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot. Right now, I like to take some time to write a tune for pre-made rhyme. Man, I had no idea. I had no plan for this. The lyrics kind of never change, but the melody gets rearranged. I never know what I'll create to say how much I appreciate Gabriel Stinson, Brian Franklin, Olin D. Branham, Drew Rub, Winston Crutchfield, Libre, Justin D. Myers, Matthew Ridgway, Cosmic Fox, and Joel Nelson. Thank you for supporting me and SPP and CGC. And now to all who hear this tune, thank you as well. Please come back soon. Wanna hear your name in song? Check out our page on Patreon. All right. I'd love to get your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. I want to thank all of the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. You can get info about the benefits of joining over at patreon.com/Spirit Productions. Then I hope you'll check out our podcast and stay connected to all CGC content over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Once again this year, I'm raising funds for children in urgent need, this time fundraising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which provides free treatment for children facing life or death circumstances, and shares its cutting-edge life-saving research with hospitals all over the world. To raise funds, I'm leading members of the Christian Geek Central community in our Game Save 21 event, which you're still welcome to join by following the link in the description below. And once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will stream live on youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral beginning 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 6th. You can donate or get more info by clicking on my fundraising page in the links below, where you'll also find incentives and rewards for doing so. For donating $5 or more, you can choose a topic for me to share my sometimes overly strong opinions on during my live stream. For $10 or more, you get the previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Special Edition audio drama. For $20 or more, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 6th live stream. Pick a favorite or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. At $30, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 6th live stream. Pick an old favorite of yours or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something no one wants to hear. And at $50 or more, you get the previous rewards and a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's an $80 value. On top of that, I've set some fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. At $200, I'll have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 13th. And as my total goes beyond $200, I'll unlock increasingly more content for that free download day. And depending how far beyond $200 my fundraising goes, during my November 6th live stream, I will show a photo of me you will never be able to unsee, put on a pair of frozen socks and a frozen t-shirt at the same time, shoot water up my nose with a turkey baster, and have my wife Holly play a video game with me for 30 minutes. And if I reach a personal fundraising total of $500 or more, I will do a 2-hour jump scare live stream before the end of the year featuring only the games that terrify me most, including Dead Space and PT. Now, I don't want to do that, but I know you sick people want to see that, so you're going to have to pay money to make it happen. And if I reach my $500 goal by the end of Thursday, October 21st, I will do a 4-hour live stream on Monday night, October 25th, doing my pathetically absolute best to get good at a game in the Souls genre. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. I hope that you will be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central Game Save team do some good for some kids and families who really need it. And then please join me at youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral for my 24-hour video gaming marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 6th. Hope to see you then. Oh my gosh. This is all kinds of wrong.